we're gonna show you the top 10 tips for renovations so that way you get the best return on investment.
And there's gonna be a bonus number 11, so make sure to stay right till the end.
We're the investor couple. I'm Mel.
And I'm Dave.
And we're the investor couple. And you're watching Top 10 Real Estate Investing Tips. On this channel, we teach regular people just like you the secrets to time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom through real estate investing.
That's right. We make sure to post a video every single week. And I'm going to ask you for a favor. If you can please subscribe to the channel, A, you're going to get content from us every week, and B, you're going to help our algorithms.
Yes, we appreciate your support. We thought it was important to create this video because when we started buying properties and having to do renovations, we didn't know how to really maximize on the money that we were putting into it to get the best return on investment.
It's a very fine line, right? Knowing how much renovations to put into it to see how much, return on investment you're going to get. So today is going to be top 10 budget-friendly renovations that will help you maximize your return on investment.
Let's get started. Number 1, countertops.
Now let's face it, whenever someone goes into a unit, whether it be yourself or a tenant, something that's really going to catch their eye is a new, nice countertop. And this is something that can be done relatively cheap. Go to a home renovation store. You can typically pick up a nice new countertop somewhere between, $300 to $400. Then you get it installed, and this will be a night and day difference in your apartment.
Absolutely. It doesn't have to be the top quality, doesn't have to be marble or anything, but just that little bit of a different color, that new fresh look makes a big difference.
And a little tip here as well is make sure that the countertop is busy enough. You don't want something that's just one color because it's only going to take 1 or 2 sets of tenants to either damage it and then you'll have to replace it. So you want to get as much time out of it. So make sure it's a little busier where if there's a nick or scratch in it, it won't show.
Yes, and I would add on to that as well, a little darker as well. Because if a kid, for example, goes on with permanent marker on a light gray countertop, guess what? It's really going to show. So a little bit darker is my preference as well. Number 2, vanity.
This is something that we do in all our apartments when we're doing renovations. A new vanity can cost you somewhere between, let's say, $100 to $250. When a tenant is walking into the washroom, this is something that will capture their eye, okay? A new vanity that's modern, nice,
and clean.
Yes, and clean, coupled with a nice big new mirror will catch the potential tenant's eye and will allow you to charge higher rent.
It sets a certain tone in the apartment as well, right? They're gonna get ready there, it feels fresh, it feels new, and a little bit of money goes a long way. You can keep an eye out on flyers to try to get those ahead of time, especially as you grow your portfolio, so that way you have some already in storage when you're ready to go, so you can actually buy them in bulk.
When a store is actually doing a clearance, we'll try and buy as many vanities as possible because we know, like we said, it's one of our top 10 things to help us maximize our return on investment while still being conscious of our budget.
Now, pro tip here, make sure to get different sizes because sometimes you'll need a really small one and sometimes there's space for larger ones as well. Number 3, lighting.
I want to devise lighting into 2 sections, and this is really going to depend on the unit itself, the budget, and what you think you can do in it. Now, number 1 will be the actual light bulbs, okay? Get some bright, energy-efficient light bulbs, put them in every single light in the unit, and that will instantly make a difference because a bright unit is something that tenants are willing to pay more money for. They're going to feel more comfortable, and it just, shows better when tenants are walking through.
Yes, and think long-term as well. This can actually save you money in the long run because if your tenants are leaving the lights on, they're gone for the weekend, but all the lights are on, at least it's cost efficient.
Now, the second part of lighting is the actual fixtures. If your budget can handle a little bit more expenses, we recommend changing the light fixtures to some nice, low-profile, energy-efficient, modern lighting. It'll make the space look bigger, it'll make the unit look just that much more modern, and it's going to save you money.
So what we typically do when we go shopping is that we won't necessarily buy the cheapest one. We certainly will not buy the most expensive one, but somewhere in between where it's just a little bit more of an upgrade compared to most apartments out there. Number 4, laundry facilities.
So I want you to look at two things. If your building has, a common laundry area that people go when they pay coin-operated machines, then that's fine. This one won't apply to you. Now, if it's a smaller building, let's say if it's a duplex and there's not a common area for tenants to do laundry, I want you to look at the possibility of installing a washer dryer in the actual unit.
Yes, so this goes a long way. And if you're looking around, you're thinking there's no space, try to see if you can create space. We've been very creative as to where we put our laundry machines. For example, sometimes if there was a little bit of extra space in the washroom, we put it there. We've put it in a closet where they were the stacked laundry and machines. So there's lots of opportunities for you to do so as well.
And this renovation, why it's important, you're thinking, Mel, Dave, that's going to be an upfront cost. Yes, it will be an upfront cost. However, the rent that you will be able to charge as a result of this will justify it and will help you overall with your net operating income.
And it's also about the tenancy turnaround as well. Think about it. Do you want to always continue to go to the laundromat or not? And maybe you're okay with that. Majority of the tenants, once they find a home, they want to call it home. They want to be able to do their laundry directly in their place. Number 5, shower tub.
So this might seem a little silly. You might think to yourself, Mel, Dave, there's already a shower only in my unit. Why would I invest in adding a tub to the actual shower as well?
Now think about this. If one of your tenants is a parent, they're gonna want a tub.
Yeah.
Because especially with young children, I'm a mom of 3, I completely understand that. And we found that we actually lost great tenants because they said, Mel, this place doesn't work for me. I have young kids and it doesn't have a tub.
So in our 19 years combined of real estate investing, we try and incorporate shower tubs in all of our units. And that's exactly why, like Melanie said, if one of the tenants has a child, they're gonna want to bathe them. And we missed out on some great tenants and we lost some great tenants because of that. So keep this into consideration. Again, it's maybe an upfront cost. However, in the long run, you're going to get a better quality tenant that's gonna stay longer. And because they have that in their home, they might be willing to pay more rent.
And some people, even if they don't have kids, they also just like enjoying a bath once in a while. So it's a nice feature absolutely to have for them.
A nice bubble bath.
If you like bubble baths as well, make sure to give us a thumbs up. Number 6, double sink.
This is going to help you when your units don't have a dishwasher. So think of someone who's washing the dishes. When they only have one sink, it becomes a hassle. And again, you just want to keep your tenants happy. You want to keep them in your units, paying rent, and you don't want any vacancy. So something as simple as that can alleviate you from having to provide all your units with dishwashers.
I remember in one of my apartments that when I was in college, it actually had a bathroom sink in my kitchen and it was awful. Needless to say, I did not stay there very long. Number 7, barbecue/outdoor area.
This does not have to be complicated. People just want an area outside, a living space outside where they can, like Mel said, maybe have a barbecue or even sit down with patio chairs and just enjoy the outdoors.
It can be as simple as having patio stones put down so that way they have an actual place where they can barbecue.
Something else we do with backyards is chain link fences, okay? So you're giving them an enclosed space for their backyard, and we're pet friendly as landlords, so if they have a pet, they can now let it out loose while enjoying their backyard, and chain link fences aren't that expensive to install. So again, this won't cost you a lot of money, but think of this, when you're listing your apartment for rent, you'll be able to say outdoor living area or outdoor living space, and you're going to attract a bigger pool of tenants for this reason.
And in addition, make sure to include pictures of that in your post. Number 8, one of my favorites, closets.
This is very important. You wouldn't think it would be, but it's something that tenants will look for every time they're walking, doing a viewing of your apartment. Now, we purchase older buildings and we do renovations to bring up their valuation. We have noticed that some of the rooms will not have actual closets. So one of the things we've done is we've gone to hardware stores and we've picked up those individual closets, and I think they're about $100 to $150 each.
They're not very expensive.
No, they're not very expensive. We install them and they permanently stay there with the unit. Now, when the tenants are walking through, it just, again, they see the closet and it's one less subjective and it's something else that meets their list. and it's a cheap way of providing a closet as opposed to building one.
Exactly, and if they're in it and never thought about the closet and all of a sudden they moved in and they go, oh no, I don't have a place to put all my clothes, it becomes an issue. So just prevent that from happening in the first place. Whether you build one or purchase one, it's absolutely useful for your tenants. Number 9, painting.
Now, why would painting be important?
Now this is very easy, it's cost effective, and it can completely change a room. Now our preference is to stay with very neutral colors. You don't have to go dark and you don't have to try to be very creative. Keep it simple, because long term, if you have a lot of units, just go in, do a couple of touch-ups, and it's so easy to make it look new again.
The other bonus with neutral colors is tenants will be able to picture their furniture in the unit, because with the neutral color, they can match any furniture, any setting, any type of design that a tenant wants to do in their unit. Initially, we would try and do some, different colors and
accent walls.
Yeah, which is nice. However, not every tenant will like that and will be able to envision themselves living in that space with their current furniture. So by keeping the color neutral, you will actually be able to accommodate a lot more tenants.
So my recommendation, pick 1 or 2 colors and stick to it. That way it's always the same paint cans. You don't have to change colors every time. You're saving time and money as well. Number 10, although we do have that bonus one for you afterwards. But for now, deadbolts.
Yes, the security of the unit is important to the tenants. So don't cheap out when you're buying locks for your units. Tenants will notice and they will end up replacing it themselves, which you don't want that, because you want to always have access to the unit in case of emergency. So when we're doing renovations, we'll always get a good grade of deadbolt locking system. Again, it's an upfront cost, not a lot, but your tenants will feel safe in your buildings. And that is important because, again, they're gonna stay longer, they're willing to pay a good rent because they want to feel safe where they live.
Yeah, it's that mutual respect as well. You know what? Hey, Mr. Tenant, I want to keep you safe. They like that, they appreciate that, and in return, quite often, they'll take better care of your property. Now, here's your bonus one, and it might sound kind of silly, but it works. Designated smoking ashtray.
So what we do, especially with our bigger buildings, is we'll buy a cigarette butt stand, okay? So the tenants will actually be able to finish their cigarettes and then put the butts into these. Now this might sound a little silly, but when you have bigger buildings, it's hard to make sure that tenants clean up after their cigarettes, and then it's hard to know who's throwing the cigarette butts on the ground. So by doing this once a month, once every couple of weeks, you can have your maintenance staff actually empty those, which actually makes your property look better.
When I used to do viewings, what I would do is actually go out with gloves and pick up the cigarette butts that were on the ground and put them in. And what naturally started happening is that other people in the building started noticing. And then as soon as somebody would throw one of their butts on the ground, they would start telling them, hey, pick that up, put it in, so Mel doesn't have to clean it up. Now you apply these 10, or should I say 11 strategies. A tenant moves in, but all of a sudden they're not paying rent. What do? Well, check out this next video to prevent it from happening in the first place. I'm Mel.
And I'm Dave.
And we'll see you there.